But in all, we can all come to terms as life, just the facts of life can cause stress to us. It can be, and the facts of life can be dissected into our families, our friend, our environment, work, school, even our health. Just going to the doctor or any doctor report can cause health. Just a community, anything can cause stress to us, church or church family. So basically, these are just stuff that we have to live by every day. So us doing this presentation stating managing stress, it means that stress is a part of our life, but we're not trying to deviate that, okay, do not get stressed, because it's just natural for us to feel stress. It's natural for us to feel overwhelmed by just life circumstances, by just situation. So it's natural for us to feel stress, but our topic is, how do we manage that stress? How do we keep a balance in order to maintain our mental health? Does anybody have any question? Okay. And the next part of the presentation, as I mentioned, so in this part, we'll be discussing, so we already went through what is stress, what are the causes of stress, and we already acknowledged that our environment and just life in general can cause stress. Whether you have lost somebody, whether it's just changes in general, can affect us. When we're out of our normal atmosphere, out of our environment, anything can cause you to stress. And how do we acknowledge stress or identify our triggers? So this is where we are. So for some people, we all have different receptors to how our body react to stress. Some people can feel like, okay, I'm feeling like I don't have any appetite. I feel overwhelmed. I feel like I have a tension headache. I feel like I want to eat. These are just identifying that, okay, I might be a little stressed, because these are the stuff that happen when I feel overwhelmed. This is what I do when I feel stressed. Isolation, just wanting to be by yourself, is also another way that some persons can identify and said, okay, I'm feeling stressed, feeling irritable, becoming aggressive. These are some of the identifiers that, okay, I am stressed. But in these moments, what do we do when we acknowledge that, okay, I am stressed? Do you lean into it, or do you try to find a way in order to come out of it? So stress overall affects our mental health, which then affects our physical health, which can then cause long-term illness. So it is important to know your stress triggers, so you don't get depressed or anxious, which at sometimes require professional help. And there's a study in the World Health Organization that also states that, especially African American, they are more likely to have heart disease. And heart disease stems from our diet and stresses. But why is it so? If stress is natural and it's a part of our everyday life, why does it affect African Americans more than other culture, other ethnicity? But for me, I am from Jamaica, and I know we have this tendency where we just push things under the rug in order to move on. So we never try to deal with what we're going through. We try to, okay, I'm looking to the next thing. We never deal with our issue. We never try to resolve what we're going through. We try to push it under the rug, which actually is not healthy long term. The next slide is, or the end of the slide is managing stress. And this is what we're here to talk about. How do we manage the stress? How do we deal with the stress that we face every day? While one thing might work for one person, it might not work for everyone. And we have to take that into mind and take that into accountability. So for example, most of us are here because we're parents. And as a parent, sometimes we feel like we're obligated to our children. It is my responsibility. I have to do this for them. But we have to acknowledge that we are also human. And if we don't allow ourselves to be filled, then we're pouring into our children from an empty cup. And sometimes we have this guilt, like, okay, I don't want to do this because I'm depriving my child or my children. But in all actuality, we have to learn to take care of us. And taking care of us sometimes mean, or all the time mean, we have to learn how to set boundaries. And setting boundaries doesn't necessarily mean, okay, we're having an animosity. No, it means, okay, when you do this, it affects me in this way. So I'm learning to take care of me by setting some kind of rules, like, okay, because you do this, don't call me this amount of time, or because you do this, I am going to take some time away from this relationship in order to recuperate, in order to get my mind together. So it's okay to set healthy boundaries among yourself, even among your children. There's times when you have to be okay with stepping away, asking somebody for help. Like if you have family members, hey, I'm feeling overwhelmed, or you don't have to go into the depths of of what you're going through, but you can be like, hey, can you help me with the kids today? Can you help me with the children today? And then take some time to reflect on you. If it's family members, because we have some family members, or even people around us, friends, associates, co-workers, where sometimes it can feel as if they're pulling from you, and they're pulling, and your energy is so drained, you don't have nobody pouring back into you. So we have to learn to set healthy boundaries, to know what your limits are, and be able to let people know that, okay, this is where the line is. And it's okay. It's okay to have boundaries. Exercising, going for a walk is a good way for you to even just detox your mind from the house, from your job, just taking a stroll and just being open to just relaxing, enjoying the environment, taking some sunlight. That is also a good way in order to manage your stress. That's a good way in order to deal with anxiety and feeling depressed. So that's also one way we can use to manage our stress. And along with exercising, we have to incorporate eating on time and going to bed on time. These are important to our health. Because while we were young and we feel like we can be up all night, the older we get, we have to learn how to take care of ourselves. Because while a lot of persons are weak, can believe that our mental health is not important, it is very much important, because if our mental health is not healthy, then long-term, it can affect our physical state. It can affect our overall health, where we start developing heart complication, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, because our stress receptors are so high, and we're not trying to to limit them or not trying to solve the problem, but we're okay with going through it. And not because a lot of people have the issue mean it's okay, because we have this stigma where it's like, okay, everybody have high blood pressure, so it's okay. It's not okay to have high blood pressure, because high blood pressure leads to heart attack, it leads to heart failure. So we have to be mindful of how important it is to take care of our mental health, because our mental health, stress can cause various disease that will affect us. So we have to learn to have a balance to life. Take each day as it comes. You know, there's this verse in the Bible which says, you know, we ought to be anxious for nothing, but in everything with prayer and supplication give thanks. So in each and every day, this is even my strategy. I get up every day and I learn to appreciate what I have, what is in front of me, and just try to live within the moment and not try to overwhelm myself with what's going to happen next or what's going to happen tomorrow or what happened yesterday. I try to live in the moment and be in the present time. And I think that's also important in managing our stress, so we don't feel overwhelmed or we're not pressuring ourselves with things that are even out of our control. So these are two that I already mentioned: setting boundaries, exercising overall, going for a walk, running, jogging. And also I had going to your bed on time, having enough rest, 8 hours of sleep, and eating. Eating is very important part of our health and our mental health too. That's a part of taking care of ourselves. And another way to manage because we all have different stress level, we all struggle with different things. So this is a generalized step in managing our stress. It's not narrowed down to, okay, it's just my kids, it's my husband, it's my relationship, it's my job. We have persons that are struggling with just finding value in who they are, just finding their self-worth in day-to-day life, and that is enough stress for them. Like, who am I? But one of the things that we can do as people in order to manage that level of stress is to create words of affirmation, and listening to music is also a good stress. It's also proven scientifically that listening to music is also a good way to manage stress. When I was going to school and I was studying for exams, I usually listened to music after exam in order to just retrain my mind and to just release all that tension. So listening to music is a good way to release stress, and create words of affirmation just to remind yourself that, okay, I'm feeling this way today, but I will be okay. Just speaking into yourself, just reminding yourself that you will be okay, that this too shall pass. Reminding yourself constantly, put it on mirrors or put it in your bathroom, write it in a notepad. It's a good way in order to just balance your mental. And this also help you to know where you are, because if we don't know, that's the reason I went through the slide as I did, to acknowledge what stress is, what our triggers are, because if we don't know the foundation of what's affecting us, then we don't know how to solve it. So it's important for us to know who we are in order for us to overcome anything. So just giving yourself words, just words of affirmation, saying, I am okay, I am enough, this too shall pass. It's okay. Today I messed up as a mom, but I can make it up. Don't beat down ourselves on mistakes and stuff that we don't get right. Just speak life into yourself each and every day. And the next one is ask for help or communicate your emotion. The stigma around mental health is that we don't want to talk to nobody. We don't want to seek help, but the help is there for us to talk to somebody. Sometimes we talk to our relatives, and sometimes they're biased with their answer, or they will go back and tell somebody, oh, so and so come to me with this. So it's sometimes we don't want to talk to people, but seek professional help. There's pastors, there's guidance counselors at schools, there is therapists. There are people out there that can genuinely help you in order to just overcome, just to lay it down and say, this is what I'm feeling. So we have to be able to communicate our emotion and know when to ask for help, because the help is there. Don't be afraid to be like, okay, we don't do therapy. It is important for us to be able to have somebody to just help us sort through our emotions. It's like doing laundry. If you don't properly sort through the clothes, then it's going to cause chaos. So we have to be able to sort through our emotions so we can align ourselves properly. Being organized is very important. That's also a strategy that we can help to just balance our day-to-day life. Just have a note, like, what do I need to get done today? So you're not feeling flustered and overwhelmed by the task that you have in front of you or the task that you have ahead of you. So that's also important. And ask for help. It's important that we be able to ask for help. You don't have, you ask somebody who you think does have. And the last one is meditate. And we're in this era where people use meditation as a form of different stuff. They do it in different, but I want to implore you to do it in a godly way. So meditate on, just choose a specific Bible verse that you think is beneficial to you in the moment. Meditate on it and pray. That also is a good way in order to manage your stress level. Meditate and pray. Not meditate on your problem, but meditate on the verse. One of my favorite Bible verse is the plans that I have for you. I think it's Ephesians 5. The plans that I have for you is to prosper you, to give you hope and a future. And that's my favorite Bible verse. So when I'm feeling overwhelmed, or I feel like, okay, this day has done me so much, I reflect on that Bible verse. So those are just a few ways that we can manage our stress, so we can show up as better people, as better parents, as better husband, as better wife, as better anything, as better sister, as better children, because we all have parents. So we can just show up better, feeling full. And that's all we're able to pour into anyone. Because if we're pouring from an empty cup, then we're going to be depleted. And I'm at the end of the last slide, and I just want to thank you all for showing up. And as I mentioned earlier, I just want to leave this with you, just a thought. If you aren't full, then you will be pouring from an empty cup. So don't be afraid to put you first. And that's all I have for you tonight. And thank you all for coming. Okay, and Sister Chamberlain, you can take over.
Thank you, Ms. Lamy, for sharing with us management. Do we have any questions? Any questions? Any comments? Any eye points? Anything learned?
No.
No.
Everything all right.
Okay. All right. So I love the point where Miss Lamy mentioned that our mental health can also affect our physical, our emotional, even our spiritual health. So we all have to be mindful that our mental health is as important as our physical and also our emotional and our spiritual, right? So we there's a hand up. So we all have to put us first, have some me time whenever we can go out to basically enjoy ourselves, to have a laugh, to do a little exercise, to communicate. Whenever we can have some me time, we all must have that time because there is as the word of God said, there's time for everything under the sun. So let us all choose to be happy once we are alive. So again, I thank you all for coming on. And if we don't have any questions, then we can just go ahead and close out. So thank you all for joining and do have yourself a wonderful rest of the night.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lamy. Okay.